just the facts, ma'am.
Well, I'm very concerned, and of course, they say that there's three forms of facts: your facts, my facts, and the truth. And so, I don't know that we're going to persuade too many people as to my position on this, but I do not find that the very grassroots support that Trump has in any way at all looks like the way that the Marxist revolution took place, with extreme violence and with a drive to burn books and to exile and murder people who disagreed with the Marxist principles. Hitler took this to a new level about 15 years later in what was called the big lie technique. And Hitler vilified the Jews. Hitler went out and said to the German populace, who was suffering extreme economic hardship, this huge depression that happened in Germany following World War I. The other European countries had imposed reparations on Germany to pay money to them as apology for having started World War I and the atrocities that took place during World War I. And so Hitler had a willing population. And then he said, the Jews did this to you, the Jews did this to you, the Jews did this to you. And after a while, it became a belief among key elements of the German population that, gee, we better deal with those awful Jews. And of course, that led to one of the most atrocious and awful events in the history of mankind: the murder of 6 million Jews and 2 million other people that Hitler didn't like, including gypsies, homosexuals, and other people who did not meet the Aryan standard that Hitler established. So I'm very concerned when we hear about any type of extreme censorship that is being driven by not honest means. So we've got Twitter, Google, and other social media going after Trump. They've shut his site down. I understand he can still come out through the POTUS site, the President of the United States site, but cannot have his own site right now. They've gone after a variety of people. Most recently, they shut down Parler. Now, I'm understanding that there's some technical issues with Parler, that there may be some other technical problems with Parler that gave Google and some of the other companies an excuse to pull them off. But what we are seeing is that Parler has just filed suit this morning to get this straightened out. They've alleged First Amendment. I don't know how First Amendment applies to a private company, but they've also alleged what I think is going to be a very valid claim: antitrust. And I call on our listeners to think about what they learned in high school history and social studies. In 1890, we passed the Sherman Antitrust Act. That's right, 130 years ago, we passed a law that said if you control too much of any industry, that you are operating a monopoly. And even though there are a variety of web browsers, Google has an incredible percentage of browsing, and they do use it to manipulate what you see on each screen when you put in a Google search. And I think that they are right, based on what I know about antitrust law, for an action. And I think Parler may be the tool that comes in to say that this is wrong and it doesn't serve America. So I think that the big social media companies, backed by what people refer to as the mainstream media, have, in my opinion, I think they have overplayed their hand. And what I want to be clear about is Trump tried several times to get Section 230 repealed. Section 230 says if you are a common carrier of media like Google, Microsoft, and so forth, that you are not responsible for posting the content of others. Now, these organizations reportedly have implemented certain levels of control in order not to foment violence, not to foment child pornography, other bad things that are out there. But they step past that, I think, when they decide who gets to be seen on their media and who doesn't, beyond, again, these extreme circumstances. So I think it's very important. And again, I don't think 230 is really going to be the issue here. I think it's going to be the good old Sherman Antitrust Act is going to be a big piece of that. And I think we need to look at that. But one thing I think that's going to be kind of interesting is Merrick Garland has already been stated to be Joe Biden's choice for Attorney General. Garland is a very senior attorney. In past Democratic administrations, antitrust against Microsoft and similar companies has been a focus. So perhaps we will see not just Parler, a struggling private company that's struggling for survival, but we may see the Attorney General's office go after these big tech companies on antitrust grounds. And that could be a very interesting development when you consider that these same organizations have been apparently visible supporters of the Biden and other more liberal political candidates. So it's going to be a pretty interesting ride, I think, over the next year.